Actually, I started as an actor, and I was a theater major at U of T. I started acting when I was at Birchmount Collegiate in Scarborough, and that's where I got my passion for, I guess, the arts. And through, I guess, the scene, I realized that I really wanted to step behind the camera and start making films. I didn't want to be that person to wait on the phone call for an opportunity. I wanted to be the one making the phone calls. So that's sort of how it started. I started on the stage and actually doing like stand-up comedy. It was sort of my forte when I first started. And then I moved into more dramatic stuff and directing. I was very fortunate to land a job at the National Hockey League as a video editor, and I've moved on since then as a producer and director for original content for NHL.com. I was fortunate enough to land a job here based on networking. Something that I preach to anybody that's younger in school. It's who you know, and obviously it's what you know as well, but who you know definitely gets yourself a foot in the door and gives you an opportunity that maybe others might not be able to get. I love dirty type of shots, and by that I mean like I love like really raw, candid documentary feel to films. And just to give you a reference, I don't know if maybe you've seen a couple of Ryan Gosling movies, like Half Nelson or Blue Valentine, or a couple movies that come to mind. Maybe something like 8 Mile, something with a lot of handheld camera work. I really like that flavor of films, and I think just gives it that much more authenticity. I was awesome. It's great to be recognized at your school for any accolades or achievements. We won Best Feature for a film that we made back in 2005, I think, or 2004. And we won a couple other awards too. So yeah, to be recognized by your peers, especially as a student, it's certainly awesome, and it, definitely motivates you to push forward. Learn about the craft, everything. Learn everything. When I first started, I started as a background extra, and learning, watching the director, watching the assistant directors, watching the crew, seeing how a professional set is done, really helped me just sort of see, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. And the more you know, the more knowledge you have, the more opportunities you're going to give yourself. And that's something that I tried to accomplish. Moving from an actor to a director was learning the entire scope of filmmaking, whether it be film editing, producing, directing, whatever. The more knowledge you have, the better. For making Cliffside, it was really important for me to represent Cliffside and Scarborough in a cinematic way. That was one of my first things. I really wanted to write about something that I knew, and what better place than to start at your home, or at least where I used to live. It's about a woman's pursuit of, I guess, finding herself, and she's forced to make a choice between staying at home, or with her drug-dealing boyfriend, or following this kind of far-fetched dream that she has. But yeah, I guess my motivation was to really just tell a really gritty story about growing up in Scarborough and my experiences there, and the characters there and the experiences here were sort of based on my experiences in the area. Representing Scarborough on screen is important for me as a director. I think that there's a lot of stories to be told about Scarborough. This isn't about telling a story about the grapes of wrath and how hard it is in Scarborough and how rough or whatever it is. I mean, this is a universal story. It just happens to take place in Cliffside and in Scarborough, and I just really wanted to make sure that my home and that base of Scarborough is put on the screen, because as I said before, there's a lot of stories to be told, and again, using a universal story of hope, and just to set that in Scarborough is what I was going for. Yeah, I mean, starting a film is quite an ambitious thing. You have to come up with a concept first of all that's cool, And what I often do is kind of bounce just an idea off some buddies or people that I find that are creative. And sometimes they say, I don't really like that idea. Sometimes they're like, yeah, I really like that. So when I kind of pitch this concept, it kind of evolved a little bit. It starts with the writing, and to me, that's where it starts and ends, is good writing. So we started with, obviously, the screenplay, and from there, we basically, in pre-production, we auditioned actors. We had to find locations. We had to find financing. And financing is a very important thing, and the Ontario Arts Council was courteous enough to grant us a very generous donation for our film. And that's a big reason of how we were able to make it. And again, once you find your locations, your actors, your money, which is the most important, then you're able to, I guess, start finding your crew and actually doing the shooting, which is, always an adventure. And fortunately, we were able to get through it pretty well, and we had a great team. And yeah, so now it's all wrapped. So. Cliffside, to me, has a lot of personality. As I said, growing up in Cliffside, there's a lot of, I guess, famous places, if you will, if you're from there, like, the Coffee Dome, or, the Pell Street Co-ops. And, since we launched the Facebook page for the film, I can't even believe how many people have chimed in on it and liked the page or made comments about it. And there's people I've never even met or even heard of. They just happen to be residents from Cliffside. So it's great to make a movie that has resonated with a lot of people because they're from the area. And I think shooting it there was just really important because we want to get that authenticity, right? And to shoot it on location at those places was really important for us. Anyone from 18 or older. It's pretty wide, 18 to 40. But I think being Canadian is an important thing. I think that's part of our audience as well. I think that we want to tell an urban story about living in a suburban area in Toronto. That's that's part of it, part of our market, and to share that story with people from the city, from Ontario, and even Canada. That'd be great. But we certainly don't want to limit it to that. We're submitting to film festivals internationally and in North America, so we want to share that story with the world. Kearsten Lyon, our lead actress, was actually born and raised in Cliffside, and it was really important for me to establish the characters on screen with as much authenticity as possible. Obviously, that started with the location, but it also started with our talent too. And most of the people that are on screen in this movie are actually from Scarborough. I found that auditioning a lot of other actors, they didn't really pick up this natural swagger and dialogue that kind of came from being from Scarborough. And just auditioning Kearsten and Zach Lyon, although they have no relation, have the same last name. They're both from Scarborough, and they just were able to kind of pick up that natural ability of picking up the dialogue as it was written. Yeah, basically I decided to fund some of the film myself. Again, this is a very personal story, and I really wanted this story to be told. So the movie started with my own financing, and then we found, obviously, the Ontario Arts Council. We'll probably, once we have a premiere, sell some copies of the film to generate some revenue for distribution. It really is a labor of love when you make a movie, a short film especially. Even if it's 15 minutes, it's really about coming up with the love to make the movie, and finding people that love the movie and the story enough to actually work for it, and maybe look for a little less, just because they really believe in the story and the ideas behind it. A couple things. One, it would be, what I'd like to achieve with this movie would be to, for one, get the story told and get it out there and have audiences see the film. That would be fantastic. And I guess that what comes with that is getting some recognition at film festivals, which would be fantastic. I'm already writing another short that we're trying to get produced, and really just kind of build from there. My ambition and dream is to make feature films as a director and produce. So this is hopefully a stepping stone to that, and to get into as many film festivals as possible. That would be just great. gotta go Canada here. I mean, I love Ryan Gosling. I think he's awesome. I love, I have to give kudos to Jim Carrey too. He was the reason I got into the entertainment business. Just to even meet him would be a real special thing. But yeah, I mean, the people on screen make you look good as a director. So, anybody from, Leo DiCaprio to Daniel Day-Lewis, these are the kind of guys that I'm sure that if I've ever got the opportunity to work with, they'd be a real treat. And, I read somewhere that someone like Martin Scorsese, when he works with an actor, it's an experience. It isn't just, going to work. It's an experience of finding a character and learning from that. And I try to do that with as a director with myself and whoever I work with in features. I'd love to just get deep and dirty with them and just find truth through the characters. So I would certainly look forward to that.